Hi Mermaid Junkies, how are you? I hope you're doing great. Isn't this pretty back here? Look, it's the park right next to our house. So this video is going to be about your vortex and explaining sort of for beginners what the vortex, when I talk about that in videos, a lot of times people are like, I don't quite get what you're saying, Raquel. And so if you don't practice or you don't listen to Abraham Hicks' teachings, you kind of get confused about the verbiage. So I wanted to explain that to someone, and I'm going to do it through an example because I think that that's easier for a lot of people to understand. It was for me anyway, because I've listened to thousands and thousands of hours over the course of 3 years, with Abraham Hicks. So anyway, basically what your vortex is it's source energy, or what most people call God, or universe. And what it is it's basically like a consensus of what everyone is, even one-celled organisms. So for example, like sort of like in life, what we ask for, not necessarily we verbally say it, but when we have situations in our life or things that occur in our lives and things that happen cause us to actually put these desires within, like, you can pretend that it's kind of like a capsule, but it's our inner being. I don't know if this is making sense, but what happens is, say for instance, when I was in my last relationship, little did I know that through all of the contrast that was happening in my previous marriage, where I was focused on, when things would occur or things that I didn't like, or, what I would argue about or feel, incomplete about, I was actually putting all of those desires, my personal desires, over into this vortex, which is basically my inner being guiding me to know how to expand into that particular expansion in life. Okay, so anyway, imagine that you are, well, that's the only thing that humans basically can do, is imagine your environment where everyone is making these personal valid request from where they stand. So say for instance, I was felt like I had to use a friend as an example because she said she didn't mind. Well, every relationship that she was in, the person that she got involved with was always seemed to be a adulterer. She always ended up getting, for some reason, well, I know the reason, but anyway, she would always get into these relationships where the person would end up cheating on her, and so he was never, faithful. Well, what's happening to my friend as these contrasting events are occurring in her life, she is actually putting, because that's causing her to not to know what she wants for the future, right? So what she's actually doing, and we don't even realize that we're doing it, is that we're putting all of these things that our true desires are in our vortex, which is our true inner being. It's God, it's our source, collectively having this, always having our back, if that makes sense. And so when she would have these relationships that would go awry, it's actually her inner being guiding her to know, okay, well, eventually, at some point, I'm going to get what I want, because Source, God, your inner being, always gives you exactly what you want. There's so many times that the majority of people that don't understand law of attraction believe that God is this being that has it all figured out. He's sitting on this cloud, dangling his feet, and he's just waiting for us as people, because we're not as good yet. We haven't been perfected yet. And so as soon as we get all our stuff together, then he's accepting of us, and then we might be able to justify getting that new bathroom that we've been wanting, or that beautiful car that we've desired, or that wonderful relationship, or that beautiful mansion on the hill. But the majority of people, the mindset is, because we've been trained that way for millenniums, is that we have to earn what God source gives us. That, if we're worthy enough, or we've done enough, or whatever. And so, but that's really actually not how God works. God is always willing to give us any of our desires. All we have to do is align ourselves with our inner being to expand. And so anyway, I wanted to clarify that. So I hope that that made sense, because like I was saying, my friend, through all of her contrast and all of the adultery that she had to deal with in those relationships, she was actually putting in her vortex, that capsule over here, I know what I really want. I want someone that's going to always, treat me with care, always be, trusting. I could always trust them. I can always believe them. They will always be faithful to me. And so basically that's what she's done. And you don't have to wait for those things. You just have to align for those things to actually happen, for people to get what they want, for people to actually have all of your desires. It has nothing to do with your, noteworthiness. It has nothing to do with the value that you place on yourself. It all has to do with, you just have to ask, then believe it, and you will receive it. And people get that confused with feeling like God has it all put together. But that's the reason we are here, that we choose to come to the earth and over and over and over again. It's because of expansion, and we want to expand. And God expands through us because we are of Him. We are of Source, our inner being. God, if you want to say. You hear a lot of people, the way that they use terminology a lot of times can be quite confusing. But I hope that was, sorry, that was my thing. I hope that clarified a little bit what the vortex is. So, okay, so I think that's all that I was going to talk about for the vortex, for, vortex for beginners. And I hope that helped. I hope that served you, and as always, I'm yours until my next swim. Ciao!